cool. So I'm
All
all
right.
about it. Yeah.
Yay! Well, on that note, hey everybody, I'm Lisa Kastner, and I'm here with the amazing Tony Martello, who is the author of The Rain Drum, one of the fantastic short stories that we have in the very first ever Rise Short Story Anthology, Volume 1. So, a little bit about Tony. So, he's a family therapist. He grew up surfing the wild waves of Hawaii and California. He is also the author of Flat Spell Tales, Under the Curtain, Climbing Currents, and of Song and Stitches. His poems and short stories can also be found in the Atherton Review, October Hill Magazine, New English Review, Forbidden Peak Press. Dear man,
Oh,
how many things can you be in? Like, this is insane. I'm not going to list them all because it's just
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, no, yeah, that's cool.
And he currently lives in San Luis Obispo, California, with his wife. I know I said that wrong, but anyway, and
I
his two
like the way you
daughters.
say it better.
Hey, there you go, man. Okay, guys. So for 20 questions, if you've never experienced this before, we have a little over 20 questions, and I just toss them out there to our guest of the hour. In this case, Tony, and he responds with whatever comes up, whatever comes to mind. So with that said, what is the very first book that you actually remember reading?
Okay, brace yourself.
Uh-oh.
The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan.
Really?
Yes, I went to, church school when I was a kid, so I was, like, hardcore church kid up
Mhm.
until 8th grade.
Wow.
And,
Holy.
it stuck with me, hopefully it kinda kept me on the narrow and the, virtuous enough to end up, feeling pretty satisfied with my life and safe, but no, it was from Bible school,
Mm,
and, it's like walking the valley of the shadow of doubt, with your
yeah.
sword and faith, all that, good church stuff, so,
There you go. There you go. Cool. All right.
yeah.
Now, who's your favorite author? It could be any genre, whatever you want.
Oh, I had to think about this. I'm gonna have to go with Steinbeck because I feel like I
Mm,
know his work the most, and I got a minor in English in college, and I wrote a lot of papers on on his novels like Tortilla Flats, like
mm,
Grapes of Wrath,
mm.
Sweet Thursday, all those.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I'm gonna go with him. He's probably my all-time favorite.
Got it. Now I have to ask this question. So, are you one of those writers? Well, reader, because I personally, well, I believe, but I also hope that writers are also active readers. How else do you learn? But anyway, um, do you like pick up a book and like when you love it, you're like, oh my god, I have to read everything by this person? Like, do you do that, or are you like,
You
yeah, that
know
was good?
That's such a good question. You know what I do is read the biography right away. If I like one piece of their work, if it's a
Oh.
short story, I go right to the biography and I do a deep dive in the biographical information. And then I pick a couple more works, usually short stories.
Hmm, hmm.
Is that it fits into my life. Short stories fit into my life. I have a really hard time completing a like Hawaii, James Missioner. I'm on page 300 of that book, but I love it, and I just
Mm.
can't finish a novel, it has 900 pages.
Oh my.
So I read short stories from the authors that I like.
Mm. That totally makes sense, especially in today's society where, I mean, we're always just constantly on the go, right? So finding
Totally.
enough time to really sit down and knock out a book, it's so much harder. But
Mhm.
um, okay, so who influenced your writing?
Oh, in terms of authors, right?
Honestly, I would make that even more broader. Just like it could be anything from like your mom and dad, or even like your favorite movies or what have you, like things that when you're writing, or when you read your own writing, you realize, oh, that's actually James Bond or
Yeah, oh, yeah, I think it's a combination of the canonized short stories I read, like Steinbeck, Hemingway,
Mm,
um, John Updike, a combination of their short stories and Disney movies, Pixar movies, because I have 2 children, and
yeah.
when I wrote The Rain Drum, my second daughter was 6 years old, and that's the same age as Rayan, the main character in the story.
Oh, okay.
So it's a
That's
combination of the canonized short story writers in Disney. That's kinda how I think it would apply to this short story.
I could totally see that. Yeah, absolutely. Now in terms of books with the biggest impact, what books do you feel made the biggest impact on you?
The first one I did a little bit of homework, Professor Lisa. See?
Woohoo!
Yeah. And, the first one I put is Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, and
Oh,
it
interesting.
yeah, it was written in the '90s when I was an undergrad, and I think it's kinda spiritual, it's kind of existential, eccentric, spiritual,
Mhm,
and I'm a therapist, and so I do really utilize probably 20 to 30% of the spiritual aspect in therapy. So
mm,
when I look back, when I first read this, I was like, that really opened my eyes to auras and energy that people
mm,
can carry in the energy, that it can have a color, it can have a depth.
mhm,
Believe it or not, I use it quite a bit in therapy.
mm. Oh,
So
wow.
he influenced me, James Redfield, Celestine Prophecy,
Mm.
James Michener, a lot of James. I don't know what's up with all the James.
I know, right? What's wrong with you?
All these English guys. What's going on with all these English guys? So, Hawaii, because it's a story of the islands of the missionaries
Mm,
trying to convert these beautiful natives and
mhm.
it not working too well because
Ah, yeah.
they have a better life than any missionary could ever have, most likely.
Most likely. Yeah.
So,
Very cool.
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no,
Um,
that's cool. So probably those authors. Yeah, those are the two I came up with.
no,
There's
that
probably
that's
more.
solid. Yeah. Nope, that's totally solid. Um, Now if you could read only one book for the rest of your life, what would you read?
Yeah, and can I couple that with if I had to save a book from the burning of all books, because they kind of go together.
Okay.
It would probably be this one. I got it out. Good
Oh,
poem.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
This I've had this book for um, probably 15 to 20 years because it
Wow.
has all the top poems from the canonized times till probably the 90s, maybe 2000s. And
Mhm.
I used to read 1 or 2 a week, and
Hmm.
I read the whole book probably 3 times, and I would just flip through, and they kind of would give me a little boost in my day, or sometimes a little bit of, solemnness,
Mhm.
seriousness, so
Mhm.
it would just mix up the mood for me, and it would give me an edge in my day is what I found out.
Hmm.
So, I don't wanna lose that book, I've had it for quite a long time. I
Mhm.
don't know how it survived 3 moves,
Wow.
from storage units to the houses, so I'm just gonna keep it with me, and I wouldn't want it to burn in the book burning
Mm.
campaign that hopefully will never happen.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so
And it actually just answered like my next 3 questions. So that's pretty cool. And actually we talked about this before, but like what inspired you to write the short story that's actually in the Rise anthology?
yeah, it was a discussion with my wife when we were on a hike in the Santa Cruz Mountains after watching the movie
Mm,
Moana. We really love Moana. We love the storyline, we love the animation, we love the shape shifting aspect of it, and particularly me, more than my wife, but we were
mm,
talking about the movie,
mhm,
and I posed a prompt for myself because I wanted to find something to write, and the
mhm,
prompt was, "How about a male character that struggles with a medical condition, like
Mhm.
kind of like I had as a kid or something similar,
Mhm.
and he gets to discover who he is and what he can do, his own identity,
Hmm.
and so we kept talking about it, and I developed it, and in 2020 I finished the story, or 2019 I think I finished the story. It took from discussion to actually finishing it was 6 months to a year.
Actually, that's not bad.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Mhm. Cool. And who do you typically allow to read your stories while they're in progress?
Yeah, it was mostly my wife.
Mhm.
Lately, she's been too busy. My daughter, who is an English major at Cal Poly here in
Oh,
St.
cool.
Louis, Ebispi, as you call it, Obispo.
Obispo.
She has edited a couple of my short stories that have been published. So she's a
Mm,
really good writer, an even better editor.
mm.
And so her and my wife pretty much are the only two.
Very well. Hey, I mean, if they know what they're doing, why go anywhere else? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you were at a dinner party and there were only 4 seats, or well, let's say 5 seats. So, what 4 authors or other people would you invite to your table?
Wow, I missed this, but I love this question. I didn't prepare it, but I can come up with some answers.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right. I would have to go with Sting and Shaggy.
Dude, I'm so jealous. That would be amazing.
Those are the first 2 guys because they're awesome, and I love them
Right?
when they sing together.
Yeah.
I love their writing, I like their music. So it would be those 2 guys at the top of the list.
Okay.
And then who else? I have 2 more, so let's see. Oh, I don't know, I'm thinking of an actor or something. An
Mm.
actor, actress. Um, maybe Morgan Freeman, he's a cool dude.
Oh, yeah, that would totally be cool.
Let's just
Mhm.
mix it up, we'll throw him in there. Yeah, I love him as an actor in
Mm.
all the movies he's in.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Um, how about I pick, like, a historical figure?
Sure.
Um, I don't know. I might have to finish that answer later. It'll probably pop up.
Okay.
Number 4. Right now, I just can't come up with the 4th, but it'll hit me later.
All right. Yeah, I'm sure. Like as we're closing out, you'll go, like Madonna or something like
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
Okay, so what is your drug of choice? And caffeine does count, so you know.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. It's caffeine, and it's either a Gibraltar or a Romano espresso
Oh,
drink. Yeah, I love both of those. Yeah.
nice. Very cool.
Like, if have you tried a Romano before, Lisa?
Ages ago.
A
And
little lemon
honest
peel?
Yep, yep, absolutely. And honestly, so my favorite caffeinated beverages, anything from a form of espresso to like a latte is actually what I've had in Spain. So,
Mm.
I was visiting Spain with a friend of mine, and oh my God, I could have lived off of those. I mean, I
Mhm.
sucked them down like I'd never seen a caffeinated beverage before, to the point where she was like, "Okay, are you gonna be okay? Like, are you?"
That's probably where Gibraltar's came from because of the Straits of Gibraltar, right? Isn't that Spain or Portugal, right on Spain
Yeah,
and Portugal border or something?
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
real
Mhm.
creamy, huh? Creamy
Ah,
and yeah, really good.
oh yeah, absolutely. And you can only get them in certain, coffee shops. And it's so fun when you go to a coffee shop and it has something like that, like a Gibraltar, right? Where
Mhm.
you're just like, wow, okay, let's see if they actually know how to make it, right? So,
I looked that up, and that originated in San Francisco in, like,
oh,
just in, like, the last decade or 2, some short amount of time. Like, I was totally surprised, according to Wikipedia or Google. So,
yeah, yeah,
I would think it would come from a long time ago from Spain or somewhere.
right?
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was
Yeah.
kind of surprising.
Well, Hey, we learn something new every day, right? Or hopefully we do. So, okay, now I have to ask this. What book is your guilty pleasure? And children's books that you've had to read for your daughters count. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you know what we're reading? It isn't a guilty pleasure, though, uh, but we're reading the, Good Words, Bad Words. It's like how to teach kids about what they find on the internet. It's more
Oh.
educational. That isn't a guilty pleasure, of course, but that just came up today in a conversation, so it's like I'm thinking of that, but yeah, it's educational for kids, and I'm always trying to find new books on how to educate kids, but for
Mm,
me, a guilty pleasure, Hawaii Fits That by James Michener because it has a
mm,
lot of raw, primitive, um, survival, sex,
mm,
just a little bit of violence too that you would not want to have to experience, but yet it's just so visceral,
mm,
It's
mhm.
it makes you feel alive. So I
Yeah.
would have to go with Hawaii. It kind of checks off 2 or 3 of these questions.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, because the next one is, so what movie or TV show is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, okay. Yeah, now that one can I go back to, like, 2008?
Yeah.
Those TV shows? Nip Tuck, remember that one? Nip Tuck?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, the plastic surgeons, and
Yeah.
they're always in a debacle, an ethical debacle over, "Should
Like,
we
should I do
operate on
this?
this person or should we get a therapist for him?"
Yeah. Oh my God. And some of the people who either participated in that or even today, where it's like, and someone said, yes, go forward and do this, like they backed, like, yeah, there's quite a bit of that in today's world,
Mhm.
which is a shame. But
And I think now as a therapist, I want them to send me those patients, like
so you can have a
because I
chat
wanna
with them.
try to get them, unless, of course, it's gross disfigurement
Mm,
or a biological medical issue that would improve their life. I give me the ones that have body dysmorphic disorder,
right.
you know,
Right.
that
Yeah.
don't really have to get it, but can we do the work to help them without having it done, right?
Right. Well, honestly, there are some I forget where I saw this, but there's still a show that covers, it's similar to Nip and Tuck, but they're looking for funding to get
Mm,
like their waist made smaller or their tushy made bigger or whatever because they have like a TikTok or an Instagram or like they're an influencer, and how they make their money is by people, I I guess, giving them cash because their tushy's so big. And I'm just like, really?
yeah, I
Like,
know,
this is a thing?
I know.
Oh, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah. And oh,
it's
mm-mm.
wild. It's shocking and wild and out of this world kinda stuff that yeah, so that's kind of my guilty pleasure show, and I would get a couple glasses of wine and go in the guest room. This is my first marriage, right?
Right.
I would drink some wine and have a little chocolate, some cashews, and watch
Yeah.
that show late at night.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's
so
that's crazy. So do you read with music or quiet or some other kind of background noise?
I do read with music in the morning, and it's usually reggae or jazz or something because,
Oh,
most of
cool.
the reading I do is psychological in nature, so it's like Psychology Today articles or, like this is one of the books that I teach.
Mm,
I have to kinda read a lot of notes and sign things, and I would say sometimes it's literature based, like, if it's narrative therapy, there's a little bit of literature kinda stuff in there sometimes, but
mhm.
mostly for work, professional journals, and that kinda stuff.
Got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If you could ask for one thing to change the world, what would it be?
Yeah. Um, for individuals to take one step into courage.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is take one baby step into courage to face something you don't want to face, whether it's
Mm.
emotions or fear.
Mhm.
I think just requesting that they get courageous enough to just try something that
Mhm.
makes you afraid that could be good for you.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant and very true. Yeah. Mhm. Wow, cool.
Mhm.
Now what does your reading environment look like? Look and sound like?
I'll go with coffee shop with the
Okay.
music on low, maybe 80s music,
Mhm.
80s alternative on low, or
Okay.
beach reggae on low,
Mhm.
with the sound of espresso machines hissing and chiming and climbing and that kind of sound.
Okay.
Yeah, I love coffee shops. I was just in one yesterday for probably 2 hours doing
Wow.
different writings and editing.
Very cool.
Hmm.
All right, now, do you prefer paperback, ebook, or audiobook?
Oh, okay. I am gonna go with audiobook,
Mhm.
even though I like the tactile feel of this and the smell and the wind of knowledge. But
Mm.
I'm gonna go with audiobook because the collaboration aspect of it is
Mhm.
phenomenal. It's awesome. When you get
Mm.
to work with a narrator that's not yourself, of course,
Right.
they agree to your project. They add depth and color to it or a different sound, a different feel. I just love the when the project is finished, I love the end result. It's just a good
Mm.
feeling.
Very cool. Yeah.
Mm.
No, I could totally see that. Um, and who would you cast as your main characters in your story and why?
Yeah, good old Morgan Freeman would be Mr. Pitcher Plant, the wise old pitcher plant.
Cool.
Now, for Cassie the cat, it would be Selma Hayek.
Okay.
Are you going to help me get this deal with Hollywood? Are we going to
I'm
work on this?
we totally can.
Let's
Absolutely. Let's
let's
do
do
it.
it. Okay. And then Rayan, the protagonist, would be I think you say his name Karen Brar. He's the younger Indian gentleman who is in a few different Disney shows. He's in Jesse, which I don't think no longer plays. It was a kid show when my kids were watching. He's probably got to be 30 something now,
Mm.
something like that,
Oh, okay.
late
Uh-huh.
20s, early 30s. And then I don't know. Oh, Owen Wilson would be Cammy the chameleon. Owen Wilson.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
So when we
Nice.
get that contact, let's make it happen.
Right? We'll make it
We'll,
happen. Absolutely.
we'll celebrate. And
We'll get
everybody
our
will
espresso on.
everybody will benefit.
There you go. And so if you could meet anybody, who would you want to meet and why? And what would you ask them, by the way?
That kind of goes along with like if I could have dinner with four
Yeah.
people, yeah, it would be Sting and Shaggy, of course. That those two have to be the same.
Okay.
And I would ask Shaggy first, how do you get that raspy voice going? Because he can change it up so much, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Okay.
And then I would ask Sting, what inspires you to write your songs? Like I would want to
Mm,
know that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your last like guilty pleasure? A food or activity or something like that?
It's dark chocolate. I gotta go with dark,
Nice.
86% dark chocolate with almond milk.
Wow. Okay.
Mm, mhm.
Hmm. And if you could describe yourself and your life in 5 words.
Oh, yeah. Let's see, let me find it. I know, I wrote it down
You're
somewhere.
like hyper prepared. That's
Oh
awesome.
oh, yeah, here we go, Creative, mellow, social, intimate, and fun.
Okay. Actually, that presents a nice little like package. Yeah. Okay.
Good, good,
Cool.
cool.
If you could write yourself into a novel, would you be the hero or villain and why?
I would be a villain because I've never challenged myself that way. I've always done it the other way, made the
Mm,
protagonist more like me. But I would, if I was going to go as far to write a novel, I would definitely challenge myself.
okay.
So yeah, I'd be
Interesting.
antagonist for sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now I need to know, give us up 2 truths and a lie.
Oh yeah. Okay. What did I write? Where is it? Let's see here. Okay. I roll on metal wheels. I'm 6 feet tall. I have served as an expert witness for the U.S. Department of Justice.
Oh, wow. Okay. Um, I would guess the first one's the lie if any of them were.
You know what? Good guess, but it's the truth. I have metal hip replacements.
No way.
I have metal hips, totally all metal.
Do you like go off when you go through a detector?
I set them
Holy
off,
moly.
yeah, and I have to do the extra, wand where they,
Yeah.
yeah, and step aside. Oh yeah, every time. It's a big ordeal. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's something I have to look forward to because I'm supposed to, at some point, I'm supposed to get a hip, my right hip and knee, replaced
Mm.
because from arthritis. So same reason as,
Well, let me know and I'll help you. I'll walk you through it. When you have to face that, I'll support you if you need a
cool.
buddy to help support you there.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I have no idea if it'll be metal or not. But yeah, it was when they were like, oh, when they realized I have arthritis in my knee and hip, the doctor was like, oh yeah, at some point, yeah, you're definitely gonna need these
Oh.
replaced. I'm like, oh, great, thank you for that. Anyway, and then I have a whole bunch of others, but you kind of answered them already. Like Disney, Universal, or WB.
Mhm,
Um, we
mhm.
already answered tea or coffee. You've made it very clear it's all about the dark chocolate. So I think the last question I have is, so is there anything else that you'd want to share with folks?
Um, yeah, uh, it's one of my missions in my career, my profession, to encourage people to use creativity or find their creative element to help them heal in whatever challenges they have, if it's
Mm,
emotional, physical, could be both,
mm-hmm,
relational.
mm,
It's sort of a challenge I do in my therapy. It's a challenge I do outside of therapy. It's what I do as a parent. So I would encourage anybody listening to find your creative expression, whether it's art, writing, sculpting, and go for it. Use it as often as you can because it will guide you
mm.
down the healing path to the light in your life.
Wow, that was brilliant. Thank you.
Sure.
Um, and with that, I want to thank Tony again for joining us for 20 questions. And thank you, everybody who watched. And if you are watching this and it is not live, and you have a question for Tony or for me, feel free to go ahead and pop it into the comments section of whatever forum or format you're watching. And because we always go back and check. So with that, have a fantastic Sunday. And again, thank you, Tony. This was